Good morning, traders. We're going to be live for CPI. It's not going to be a long live stream today. I have a doctor's appointment at 9:15, so I'll stay live. We'll get the announcement, see what's what with the inflation. We'll discuss a few things, maybe with a look for the market open. And if I get back in time, it shouldn't take long. It's just to give a little bit of blood. And if I get back in time, we'll go live again for the, light trading into the second half of the day. But as of right now, Bitcoin's on the lows of the day. This morning I was up real early and Bonk was trading up. Everything was down. Like Bitcoin was down 2.5%. Literally every crypto, even Penguin and Hype, which both of those are getting a sympathy bid from Bonk, right? The ETF expectations of Bonk, those were all red, and Bonk was up almost 12% coming into the yearly opening range. So essentially I posted in the Discord and on Twitter that this was an absolute good place to look to take profits if you have been holding this long, and also if you're not in a position to take a short. Now, clearly that played out right at the London session open, so that's why we were looking for the reversal. It was a very big level. I caught that trade. It was a beautiful trade. I'm actually still in it, but you can see right here, I realized P&L $1,300. It was a beautiful trade, $1,300. I top ticked it because I was watching it on TradingView, tagged the yearly opening range, so I just went in market sell, and then when it got down low enough, I took profits and then re-entered into with another position, and that brought my cost basis lower. I actually entered it when it was down here. I was looking for a deeper correction higher. I was looking for this bounce to actually go higher. But when I noticed it wasn't looking like it was going to be able to go higher, I went ahead and added to the position, and that brought my cost basis down from top tick to down about here. So I have that position open, and I'm going to keep that position open. The reason is because the VIX, go back up, the VIX, we closed right on the yearly opening range up here on the VIX. That's not typically what you want to see when the risk markets are at highs, right? You've got the risk markets trading at highs over here. Here's your SPX. This is the cash market. Yesterday it literally closed almost at the daily or the high day close. And then here is the pre-market. It's not the futures, it's the CFD product. My futures on TradingView is lagged. I have real-time data, it's just not on TradingView. There's no point for me to pay for that when I have it already, right? So I use this data to show me essentially what we're looking at as far as real-time data on the futures. You can see that you're still trading up at highs. The VIX gapped up yesterday, closed right at the yearly opening range. So you can call that a close at. It's not a close above, but it damn near was, because you started trading under it. We go into the intraday time over here, intraday time frame. You check out the VIX. Yesterday, this is where it was when I put that upload onto YouTube. We were trading up into it. So I was expecting it to reject or trade higher. Whichever it took place, that's what we were going to be looking to do for the second half of yesterday. Well, it reversed right after I uploaded the video, but this is how it closed. It traded back up to it and closed right on it. So in a sense, this is not a failure under. Now, gapping down this morning looks good, and this is a gap to fill here. So you basically filled about the midpoint of this gap, but notice how it's starting to trade up a little bit. If we get a CPI number in and it's bad or it's higher, we're not expecting that, but if it is, and the VIX starts to trade higher, then this move that you're seeing on Bitcoin could be exacerbated lower, much lower. This is a reversal signal on Bitcoin, but as long as you're closing dailies above the 21, I still like it higher. and risk will go higher depending on what we get today. But since the VIX is still so elevated, anything above 15 is considered elevated on the VIX. We shouldn't be seeing the risk markets trading at highs with an elevated VIX. So something is in the mix right here. So clearly, I like the short on bonk. I mean, it was the only thing that was trading up on highs. And that trade worked out phenomenally. And I am expecting downside continuation. Not a whole lot, not until we get the news on whether or not the ETF is going to be approved. If the ETF gets approved, then it'll probably, go up. But if it doesn't, you're going to give back a majority of this price action. So, I mean, this thing has been on an absolute tear for 4 solid weeks, right? 4 solid weeks straight up. So if your ETF gets not approved, this will give back at least half of that, I'm assuming. And you know what they say about assumptions, right? So, yeah. Take that with a grain of salt. If you still want to take the short on bonk, you're still up 4% on the day. So even though you had a pretty dramatic retracement here from the yearly opening range, you're still up 4% on the day. So I mean, I still like this thing lower. I do. Obviously that analysis changes completely if you're gapping or trading up above the yearly opening range. All right, because if you're above that, there's no real proof that you're going to see any more downside. Now I pulled this up. This is the liquidation heat map for bonk. And you can see there's not a lot of stuff up here left to be liquidated. I mean, there was a whole lot of blank space up here, except for what has been put in since. So, yeah, I mean, there's barely anything up here. You can see where the biggest liquidations took place. Up here, you really had nothing. So I assumed this move was just a false move. That's why I took the short. But anyway, other than that, we got Fartcoin, which we have been watching this. We've been trading this very actively because it trades very good. It's already down 4%. If we get bad news here in 14 minutes, then we could see another 4% to the downside on this. If you want to trade this, I don't like this being so... I mean, I don't know about it, right? It does look like it wants to see more downside continuation. Your volume cumulative delta is still bearish. You're just barely under the 50 on the RSI on the 4 hour. On the 8 hour, you're above the 50. So this could still be a buying opportunity if we get good news on the CPI. So if we get good news, I might want to be long this. And I currently do have a near-term long on it right now that I took with a small position. We'll get over there on that chart. Just take a look at it here. But this is currently what we're working with on Fartcoin. So you might want to wait for the news, see if you get a liquidation below the low, see if you get a liquidation below this swing low here. If the news comes out and the news is really good, like inflation is going lower, which I'm expecting it to go lower, I think the markets aren't. Let's see what the markets are expecting. I haven't actually looked. So forecast for month over month inflation is 1. It's 0.3. Let me go ahead and get a screenshot because I know you guys cannot see it. So this is what we're working with here. So this is going to be last month's data, and then this is your expectations for this month. So last month we had core inflation come in at 0.1%. We're expecting 0.3% this month. That's higher than last month. So anything lower than 0.3% is going to be good news. Here on year over year, core inflation is 2.8 last time. This time they're expecting a 3. Obviously, anything lower than 3, anything lower than 2.8 is real good. And then your year over year, which is your core. Oh, this is your core inflation rate, but your year over year, your inflation rate. Fed wants this at 2%. We've gotten really close, 2.4%. They're expecting a 2.7 this time around. So that's your inflation data. Expectations are higher. If we go look, we still have 20 minutes here, so let me get you over here to ratios so I can show you this stuff. So a lot of people are saying that they're looking for shorts on the S&P 500 based on higher inflation. We look at growth versus value. You can see that they are not positioning themselves for higher inflation yet. Here is the XLK versus the XLE. Once again, this is what inflationary fears looks like when they're pricing in inflation. This is what we see happen. This is what we've been seeing happen. That's not pricing in inflation. Here is the SPY versus the defensive sector. I had a short on USD JPY. It's okay. We'll take a look at that too. But you can also see they're not positioning for heavy inflation right here. So even if we do get a higher inflationary tick, markets are not positioning for a much higher inflationary print. So we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. Today is Tuesday. We typically like to look for the weekly lows to be put in if we are looking at bullish markets. But seeing how the S&P 500 is still up, I don't know that I'd be looking for a low on that. I mean, you could get it today, but this is where you currently are right now. So the S&P is currently structured on highs above last week's high, right at last week's high, and the VIX is elevated. It's elevated. It's gapping down, but still elevated. And that's what's got me a little bit perplexed here. And then there is a big gap way up there, but I'm not expecting that gap to fill. It's this gap down here that I'm looking for to fill. And you can see we are currently trading back up today. So gapping under the early opening range after closing right on it is okay. But are we going to push up now? So only time will tell. 9 minutes until the news. What's going on, everybody? I'm not very talkative this morning, I see. So let me flash close this Spark coin because it's rolling over. I'm assuming we're going to see a little bit of volatility here because yesterday nothing basically did anything. Fartcoin had a pretty good day yesterday as far as movement is concerned because you traded up early, well, very early. London session set a high of day and then rolled over for the rest of the day. Bonk is here. So this is what we can do. We can situate what could be seen here. Let's get the daily. Right there is your daily open. Give me 1 second. I'm getting targets for Bonk just to show you what could potentially happen today. What is that? 245. All right, so 245s. And the open is here. So there you go, that, and then we'll go one more from here up. Oh, right there. And we want to change this to green and green. Well, that's red still. Green. there you go. So this is what your daily range could end up being today from the open. This is using price targets. So you can clearly see there's a lot more potential for the downside from here. I don't know if it will roll over, obviously, but this is like, you could have a very achievable target to the May high from where it is now. So if you're able to get short entry, say from this 30-minute candle closure, as long as you're not closing daily or 30-minute candles above that, right? If you're tagging that, rejecting it, or say you do close one above it and then the next one rejects hard, you could take the short there, and then one could aim as low as May's high, which is down here. And that would keep you within half of what is expected or what could be achieved inside the daily range. So we discussed this last week at the end of the stream, so that way you all would learn to have more consistent targets and whatnot. So if you do want to short the bonk trade, if you're not in this yet, you could look for targets as low as 2,600, all right, 2,600, and that would put you at a liquidation below these swings. And I think that is 100% achievable on a bad news print or a higher inflationary print. I think you could see bonk roll over heavy. So that's that. Of course, we can't get a direction based on any kind of analysis, but you are currently holding under the intraday VWAP here off of a pretty severe rejection, in my opinion. If we go look at the volume up there, you can see there wasn't nobody trading up here. Like me and maybe a couple other people. Hopefully someone was able to catch that short when I posted it. I really hope someone was, because like I even posted in the Discord that if I get stopped out of it, I'll take it again. Like that's how I was just, I felt very strong with that. The force was with me on that one. But I did not end up getting stopped out. I literally hit the sell button and it rolled over. Like in a sense, like not even a minute. You didn't even get a couple minutes up here. You got 1 minute. You had a 1 minute candle trade up into it, and then boom, see ya. And then once it put in this little bit of sideways here, I was watching this as a 5 minute closure, just kind of as a warning, because I took the trade with a heavier than normal position size. And I didn't want to get, because this thing moves a lot, right? It was moving like 50, 60 bucks per tick. I didn't want to take a huge loss on it. So I was just essentially watching this, making sure we wasn't closing above it. And then once we got to this portion here, it just drifted. It was like, I pretty much knew at that point, yeah, that's gonna be done. And you can see how the volume started to pick up, right? But when it was trading up in here, there was nothing over here. So all of this literally came as price was going lower, the majority of it. Some of it was obviously people buying on the way up, but they were also trying to buy on the way down. The blue signifies more bids than asks. So even though more people were buying up here, the market just rolled over. So that tells us that there's big sells up here being triggered. Once those buys were coming in, the sells was just soaking them up. Hit the level and reversed. Yep. So that's good stuff. That is good stuff. I think you could potentially retest, like if you get a spike high, you could potentially retest the value area high. This blue line up here, I think that would be a safe place to watch. You don't necessarily, if you get a big spike, you don't necessarily want to dive into the short on a huge spike. But if it goes up there and then slowly starts to act as resistance, like you see an inability to close mini candles back above that, then you can jump into the short. High of day as your stop. Go in with a very small position size because this thing is moving. I can't say that enough. when things move this fast, you can go in with a big position size. You're going to get wrecked if it goes against you, even a little bit. And this thing can go against you hard. Look what it did at the open yesterday. So I was watching this at the open. Here's the open. Going into the open, this thing was chopping so hard, not doing anything, right? Just chopping people to pieces. And then here's the open. That's the exact minute it opened a new daily candle. The Asian session took off and nothing happened until 15 minutes after the market opened. And then you got that big 1 minute candle spike. That right there would have been about $150 on a position size of just 200 or 300 bonk with 20x leverage. $300 with 20x leverage. That would have been a $100 loss. So be careful with this. It moves very fast, very strong. But yeah, crushed it today. Took a couple losses on it yesterday, got it all back today, plus more. And I love it when that happens. All right, here's the news. We've got the inflation rate for Canada, not this yet. We're getting a spike up. We still don't have anything for America. Oh, here we do. So we came in lower than expected. We got a 0.2. We're still waiting on the year on year. We're still waiting for year on year. But we came in lower here on core, 0.2%. And we came in lower on core year over year, 2.9%. It's higher than last month though, guys. It did come in lower than expectations, but it's higher than last month. I'm gonna buy Fartcoin right now and just see what happens with that. I lost $10 on the first position. I'm gonna go in right now and see if I can keep that loss within $40 or $50, but this looks okay. You're seeing the spike on bonk. And that high value area on bonk is 29.20. And this is on the Coinbase exchange, 29.20. Fartcoin is spiking here. Still trading under VWAP. Nice volume, cumulative volume delta looks good. We're seeing risk markets rip. We just took out the highs. Let me make sure that's fresh daily highs. It is. You have fresh all-time highs on risk, and the VIX has dropped much deeper into that gap up here. So here's your risk on the day. You're trading above the all-time high. This could get faded. Bonk is currently trading up into 4-hour res. But, I mean, let's be honest, that looks bullish, don't it? It's scary to short into that. Very scary to short into that. Let's pull up Bonk here. But I'm going to, more than likely, if I get up into that, back up into that, give me my session volume profile, please. So we'll give it a watch here, see what it does. I'm gonna have to leave. I'll probably shut the stream down at 8:45. That'll give me enough time to get over to the doctor's office. The appointment's at 9:15. So it's trading up into VWAP here. I mean, it could reject there. We're seeing VIX pull back. My VIX data isn't. Let me see something here. Well, I'm showing the 832 candle, but it's 833. I thought I had lag data on the VIX, but it doesn't appear to be so. So bonk, rejecting intraday VWAP for now. It's also going to be the point of control. So the most of the volume is traded right in this area. Today, we're seeing a spike in volume here. Notice how this, your cumulative volume delta is still structured bullish. I expect that will change if you start getting big volume at the open. The New York or the 9:30 New York session open, you could see whatever happens get faded. I don't imagine you will because it's good news, but the last couple times we've had good news on the CPI, we've seen the market fade it. I'm going to watch the VIX closely when I get back from the doctor's office to see if it continues to go above 1721. If it does, then I'll probably put on some puts. I don't like paying for puts when the VIX is above 14. But something's weird. Like, we shouldn't be making fresh daily highs on the S&P 500 with a VIX elevated above 15. Good morning, traders. Good morning. Good mornings. Good bank earning today, pre-market. Yeah. And the reason we're so hyper-focused on bonk, because everything else is down and it's up 5%. But if Bitcoin becomes bullish on the day, then the bonk trade might not even be a short. So you might just want to maybe focus on long Bitcoin or long Fartcoin or long some other crypto. I would probably stay away from Penguin. This is another one that is extremely stretched out, right? Like, just be careful getting long. It is also testing the yearly opening range right now. Penguin, this actually might be one you could watch for a short. Not a lot of volume coming in here. This is all buy side liquidity that was tripped up here. So if they're selling into that, then this will reject. So if you miss the bonk short, you might be able to catch a decent short here. But I want to see a rejection here. I wouldn't short it until it's trading back under and showing you rejection under. While you're above it, it can fly. There's not a lot of volume coming in. So if it starts to reject, that's a pretty good sign, right? I typically don't want to see big volume bars like this, right? I don't like seeing the volume profile look like have big bars down here and big bars up here, because you can get the pullback and then later on in the day go back up to smoke all that. So this actually does look good for this to fail. Well, Fartcoin's already rejecting here. So we could see a pretty big down move here today, or it gets faded. You still got a whole hour until the 9:30 open. It's 8:38 now, so a little less than an hour, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you got plenty of time here. You could put in many 5-minute candles still, and then whatever direction is trading before the open could be faded. It is good news, but that elevated VIX has got me thinking something else is going on here. So I definitely want to hold something short. I already have that bonk short. I don't need to add to that, but I could potentially throw on a small short position on Penguins, seeing how this thing is up 11%. Let me put on a very small short on Ping. 15% on Weeks. Very small position here. All right. Short opened. There's the Penguin short. I closed the bonk scalp out because it was going down again. $195. That's not a lot of money. It's 20x levered, so it's actually 20 times bigger than that, but I'm not using a lot of my capital. I'm using their capital. It's still my capital, clearly, but you get what I'm saying, right? I still have plenty I can throw on other positions. This one's going to stay open with this position size, so I don't need to go in heavy here. If bonk rolls over, that is the leader. That is the one that is giving all these others their pop. So we'll see how it plays out. SUI is looking so strong. Let's go look at SUI. Good morning, Rastus. Yeah, it looks okay. I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about, but I mean, this is SUI versus Tether on Binance. So yeah, I mean, it does look good too. I have a bullish bias. I'm just looking for a near-term correction to then buy later, right? Because we've already looked. Major market participants are not positioning themselves for high inflation or a recession. But there's a lot of money on the sidelines. You even have people like Warren Buffett saying not
United
to buy.
States is on the
Or not Warren Buffett, but thumbnails of Warren Buffett, and then saying don't buy stocks. Like, you got crazy stuff going on out there. A lot of people are concerned the market's going to roll over. I'm not concerned the market's going to roll over. I just want to see it pull back so I can buy it. I would love to see the VIX get up to that $20 area so I can buy calls, not puts. I don't necessarily want to hold puts when we have a very bullish market. But you can see here, the VIX isn't, it's not, it's like, this is pretty much like a rejection. But we still got a long time before the market opens. Bitcoin going back down, or trading back down to the lows. This is a reversal. This is an evening star reversal. That's a big wick, and then you took out this candle's midpoint so far. Now you got to close under it, and let's be honest, it looks like you shouldn't have no problems closing under it. But I think your evening star reversal formations work better on a weekly time frame than daily time frames, but it is what it is. I mean, this is signaling a reversal. But we need a pullback, right? When you get extended, you need pullbacks. And you can see pretty volatile corrections in a bull market. We have to go back all the way over here. So, like, look at this correction, right? That's pretty volatile. And then you've seen more upside later. Go back to the last bull market we had. That looks like almost a blow off there. Deep corrections can come, and then you can see higher markets. So we want to see a correction, but we would like to see it maintain the breakout point, but at the same time, it doesn't really have to. You've already lost it. Oh, no, you have not. I take that back. You have not lost that trend line there, I think. We want to definitely see that hold. We got places to watch, right? We got plenty of levels that we can keep an eye on to see if support comes in. But that's good news on the inflation front. It's higher than last month, but lower than expected. Be careful getting long S&P for the breakout before the market opens. What's the grid look like? All right, so you're rejecting the highs on the ES. Rejecting the highs for now. That's what you look like intraday. Tesla is still pushing higher. So Tesla flat out rejected that triangle breakdown. There's a big gap up on Nvidia. Did Nvidia do earnings or something? All right, no earnings. Nvidia earnings are way out here, so I don't understand why this is gapping up so massive. That's a big gap up. That's why you're bullish on risk markets. All right, guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up there. Like I said, I got to go to that doctor's appointment. So I will get that done, and I'll come back, and we'll see about going live then. Thank you guys so much for showing up. Just keep watching the markets. Keep the VIX on watch. Make sure you're watching your overall markets if you're looking to short things, because just because you want to short it doesn't necessarily mean that you should short it, right? Not always does the short work when everything is bullish. Bitcoin might be a buying opportunity today. So keep that in mind. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day if I don't see ya.